there's a house down here that sometimes they they go in there and like stay there for a night before they make their way on up through Texas. And so we go through there and we clear it out. But the problem is the cartel's been moving in. So we go in heavy now. So we're going to clear the house to make sure there's no cartel in there. Who wants to go? And I'm like, me. Have you been to the Ox Ranch out in Texas?
No.
Brandon Herrera could point you in the right direction. You know him.
Yeah.
You've done
you guys
stuff
had
with
him on PKA the other week, eh?
Of course.
He's
Yeah. Next time you talk to Brandon, ask him about the Ox Ranch and if like he could get you out there to have some fun. So what it is,
you could
the guy out there,
out here?
You can hunt anything you want out there. That giraffe's 8,000 to kill if you want it. More to stuff. Its name is Sushi. So if you go out to the middle of fucking Texas, there's an 80,000 acre ranch out there that this guy bought. This guy's our age.
Brent Oxley.
He owned the HostGator, which hosted like, I don't know, 8% of the global internet at one point. And he sold it for like $300 million roughly. And so now he's a 37-year-old 300 millionaire. And he's just got like, it's seemingly, I'm just like kind of pulling this out of my ass. What I've noticed is that all of his friends are the guys that you'd be like, hey man, I really want to own a tank. How would I go about doing that? Like, let me show you. So he owns tanks. He owns artillery pieces. He's turned that ranch into a playground. There's like jet ski racing on his private lakes he's created. You can get lost out there. It's
so you can just do that.
80,000 acres is hard to comprehend.
Post up in a blind here, which is like this like little box with windows and like literally snipe zebras.
So I don't know. So he took me up in like his private like hunting box, and you go up this spiral staircase into this big elevated position, and there are camera feeds on screens in the elevated room you're in. And so you can watch on camera when an animal is at any of these positions. And then you open a window and, prop your rifle up and shoot it. But it's an open bar in here with like nice liquor. Like it's like a fancy liquor cigar bar that you're in, like with a heater.
And visitors can drive around in vintage tanks. It says here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've been there and done that. I blew up his old house before he built his mansion. He wanted to like destroy his old house. So we went, me and
you could shoot old cars from a World War II tank.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, you can blow cars up. You can hunt animals.
I'm surprised there's not more of these around.
But like you can do more. So what you're looking at is what like the general public can get access to. But I bet Brandon knows him well enough that you could go on like a kind of a VIP come and hang out with him kind of thing. He probably knows who you are. When I went,
he'll let me sniff coke while I shoot cars from a tank.
No drugs. I certainly my felonious ass is not gonna make any drug jokes. You can't see me, but I like did that pull my collar away from my neck thing. All of a sudden, no drugs. But I thought of it because he has caves on that property. There used to be old silver mines there, and so he's been walking that property on his own, discovering caves for years. And he took me to two of them. One of them, he's got a GPS tagged, so we drive out in the middle of nowhere we're knocking brush down as we go in these fancy ATVs. And when we get there, we walk for another 10 minutes and with flashlights, and there's just a hole in the ground that's like a city sewer hole size, like one of those things.
Manhole cover.
And there's an emergency fire ladder that you would throw out of a kid's window. It's just these little aluminum rungs connected with cable. And he throws that down in the hole and says, "Who's first?" Yes. And I'm like, "Me, motherfucker, let's go." And I start climbing down this dark hole. He said, when you get to the bottom, you'll need to get on your hands and knees and start crawling.
Ooh,
and
bro,
so I get to the climb all the way down. And I mean, I'm climbing for like a bit. Like it's probably 15, 20, 30 feet down. It's hard to tell when it's narrow.
You are a sicko, so I'm not like that surprised that you would do something that I would never be able to do.
I mean, I feel like they invited me for a show, so I'm going to give them one. So I get to the bottom of this fucking thing and start crawling. And then you crawl through a small tunnel it wasn't claustrophobic for me, and I'm not small. So it's a pretty decent sized tunnel, but you do have to crawl through it. And then it opens up into this big, like igloo dome cavern where the walls are covered with these bugs that glow under ultraviolet light.
Oh, wait, that's
like they're glow in the dark. The ground is this.
It sounds like Pandora now, like Avatar.
Yeah, a little bit. The ground is this loose, like soil that has bones in it from animals that have fallen down this pit for hundreds of years. There's stalactites and stalagmites or whatever the fuck, the ones that go down and come up, like everywhere around you. And it's just this perfect darkness you're surrounded by. I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen. I loved doing that. So that Ox Ranch is it's one of the cooler places I've ever been.
Yeah, that sounds sick. It's really interesting English language being like stalactite. That's the one that comes from the ceiling. Stalagmite, that's the one that comes from the top. But then they're like, yeah, this is light. It's not heavy, it's light. And turn on the light. And, I ate the number 8. And it's just like, wait, why you got stalactite, stalagmite for this fucking random, obscure, like, cave spike? But then we're going to share 3 meanings for one word.
I felt bad. I won't say who it was, but my boy was in there. And like when I saw those, I'd been on cave tours before where you see those like stalactites or whatever coming from the ceiling. They're like, this took 800,000 years to form, Jimmy. Tiny bits of calcium, a micron at a time. Don't touch it. The oil from your skin would stunt its growth for generations to come. And so, like, I'm looking at these things with that kind of reverence and respect, especially since this isn't just some national hole in the ground. It's like my boy, it's like this guy owns this hole. He owns every rock in here. I'm going to be chill.
That's his calcium spike.
Well, what the fuck else are you going to do with it if you don't keep it? Like, what are you going to throw it on the ground now? You snapped it off the ceiling where it's been growing since before humans were on this continent. Yeah. So, like, yeah, take it home, dude. I felt bad.
That is crazy. The Ox Ranch is just interesting because it connects to the Chihuahuan Desert.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just funny to think about the Chihuahuan Desert and the brush there, and to just imagine like Chihuahua dogs running through there getting smoked by snakes and foxes and whatever. They must have.
They took me. So apparently illegals make their way through that property. And so they start telling me this story, which I found out was later mostly a lie. They're like, yeah, the illegals, they filter through the property and we capture them. There's a bounty for each one we catch and turn over to the rangers or whatever. And so there's a house down here that sometimes they like, they go in there and like stay there for a night before they make their way on up through Texas. And so we go through there and we clear it out. But the problem is the cartel's been moving in. So we go in heavy now. So we're going to clear the house to make sure there's no cartel in there. Who wants to go? And I'm like, me. Serious, because they told me there could be bad guys in here. I turn around the corner and there's like a 6'3" tall Troy Aikman cardboard cutout that I almost sprayed with this fucking machine gun. He's got the football cocked back like he's gonna throw it, and he was just in that scared.
I literally know what standee it is. Like I can imagine it perfectly. I feel like it like came out at when he was on the cover of Super Tecmo Bowl, like back in '93 or something.
They're like, "Did it scare you?" And I'm like, "I almost shot it." Like you sitting in there with a fucking gun.
Yeah. So that's good times, and I would never go in the cave. I would never, even if they're like, there's going to be cartel in there, take this automatic weapon. I'd be like, you guys, I'm going to go to Whataburger.
Right. Some caving videos where I'm like, what the fuck are you
Oh
thinking?
my God. I saw one.
How is this a thing?
They drove to one end, their car, and then they like walked back so that when they go under, they'll come out to where the car is, and they walked back. And it was super freezing cold water. There was 4 of them, and one of them, their thing got stuck or compromised, and he couldn't move. And now the other one couldn't get past his body, and you can't go backwards in this. And like,
it's like,
I just see that.
It's like, what?
Oh, it opens up a bit at least. I found where the spiders live. The one nice thing about the spider's den is that. I'm just kidding, there's nothing nice about it.